Whew. I have so much to say. I don't even know where to start. I, I know I've got to start off in a positive, positive way. It's been a rough few years. So you start you start seeing all this stuff pile up, and then in the end, I tried so, but in the end, it didn't even matter. Anyways, um, so this topic here is something that I don't really see anyone discuss. And I know I had made a video several moons ago, several years ago, discussing weird things that got everyone's attention later on. Could this be it? And I had brought up like the collapse of oil, what that would do to the world, and you're about to see the collapse of the dollar. Now, it's petrodollar, and then you have what happens to the dollar from the petrodollar. I know it's really complicated. Now, I got news of this that it was going to be like in 6 weeks' time, you were going to see the collapse of the petrodollar. I think we got about maybe 5 weeks, give or take, something like that. And what happens from that, the spiraling effect that takes place from that. I'm going to get to that so that everyone kind of understands that. I mean, you. It's like when I discussed like the collapse of oil, and that frightened a lot of people. I remember there was a channel called Vice. I think they're under a lawsuit for being whack, but they made fun of what I had to say, and a lot of other people actually seen this kind of come into reality as they saw the rising fuel prices. Now, who has control of all of that? Who has control of like OPEC and everything else? And where do we get our fuel from? And that kind of stuff. Now, I remember seeing truckers had emailed me along the way the information coming up on their screen there saying these love stations were closing because of the lack of diesel fuel. That happens, and that's, I mean, that all goes into the effect of everything. It drives our daily life. Our fuel in our vehicles drives our daily lives, and people will kill you for your last tank of gas. People will kill you for your vehicle, mode of transportation. You're going to see people stabbing the bottom of your gas tank with screwdrivers, punching holes in your tank, and people were joking. I'd like to see someone use a drill. People actually did use drills. They had some bad situations, a few sparks, and blew their truck up or whatever. But uh, but the thing is, like, I mean, there's so many different ways from these types of situations. The collapses, all these different types of collapses take place. Now, the petrodollar thing. Okay, I know I'm kind of rambling, and I know people hate it when I do that. I don't want to spiral out of control like our government has. So here's the thing. I know it's hard to explain how the petrodollar works, but it's like an investment, and it's a global currency thing with the U.S. dollar. So you have a bunch of agreements here. It's like everyone says, well, it's all about the striving economy. Whose economy is doing the best, and which one's got the best economic growth? Okay, so it goes into the buying market for oil, and everyone's kind of like, so we buy oil, and everyone's under agreement that we're going to use the dollar to do so. And then everyone else on board is like, hey, well, handshake here, handshake there along the way. And everyone's kind of on board globally and using the dollar in trade for oil and those types of senses. Now, the petrodollar isn't an actual dollar. For those of you that think it's like, oh, that's a dollar. No, it's not the dollar. It's just a term. It's kind of hard to explain. But anyways, besides that, that's not the point. All right. So let's just get to the reality. So now, with the conflict with China, with the conflict with Russia, with the conflict with this person and that person, everyone hates the U.S. You know, the wolves are at bay. They see we're weak and crippled. They see everything's falling apart. They see the cocaine, people snorting lines of cocaine at the White House and stuff. They see people hitting bongs at the White House. They see people flopping their boobs out at the White House. They see all this stuff happening. So everyone's like, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. So everyone's starting to steer away from everyone's starting to steer away from the U.S. Hey, I got a better idea. Let's go this route. So everyone's starting to shake hands and let's use this currency instead of the other country. China's involved in a lot of that, and they've already got several other countries on board with that. And the more countries that start to, I mean, we used to be like 80%, I think, when Trump was in office. And so now that this situation's taking place, we're probably at about 20% or 30%. I know it's less than 30%. It's got to be less than that as far as people who are willing to be a part of the team and accept the currency. So you're getting to that point where, and that I'll get to some bigger stuff in just a second. So eventually, within weeks, very soon, probably, I'm not going to say 5 weeks. I should, but it's just kind of like being over dramatic. You know what I mean? I don't want to go that far, but soon. So you need to get ready for what's going to happen next. And I'm going to explain what's going to happen next. All right. So you've lost. What happens if everyone decides, hey, look, we're just not going to accept the dollar anymore for oil? And we're not going to do that anymore. That petrodollar thing, let's just end that. Let's just do away with that. What happens if it goes away? You're going to see inflation in this country go insane. I mean, you're talking Venezuela. You're talking some crazy inflation. It's going to happen overnight. It isn't going to matter if you keep a dollar bill in your pocket. You know what I mean? Like, we've had these scenarios. What do you do if there's a bank holiday? And it's like, well, the scenario, there's a bank holiday. It is a good idea for emergencies. In case you're in line during a bank holiday, which would happen immediately after something like this happens. In the event that this happens, you're going to instantly see that bank holiday take effect, and you might, all accounts frozen. I mean, you're talking like no ATMs. There's not going to be the chip reader in your card isn't going to work anymore. It's going to keep saying declined, declined, declined. All that stuff's going to take place. You could be getting gas. You could be getting your last thing of groceries. You could be getting any little item that you're trying to get that day, and nothing's going to work. Well, if it's really important to you and you start seeing that happen and nothing's working for you and everyone else in line is having the same problems, go ahead and sound the alarm in your head. Look, this is one of those prepper things I heard about, one of those survivalist things. And all these people are going to be the sign, and you're going to be, whoa, this is happening to everybody, not just me. So if it's very important to you, hopefully you've got some cash in your wallet to get yourself out of that situation at the moment. But once that day's over, everyone's going to kind of get a clue, and no one's going to take your money anymore. It's going to reach that point until everyone gets things figured out, because I mean, dude, like a pound of rice is probably going to cost you like $80. It's going to go from food is going to be the most important thing, and fuel is going to be your second most important thing. Everyone's going to need fuel, especially if you're getting closer to winter and everyone's trying to stay nice and cozy in their homes or whatever, you're going to have those issues immediately. Everyone's going to start selling any kind of fuel that they can get their hands on. I mean, heck, they might even steal your firewood. Who knows? Hey, it happens. You know what I mean? Some people just don't want to cut the tree down. You know what I mean? Or they don't have the ability to do all that stuff, because some of that stuff involves fuel too. Just so you know, it's not all, hand saws and stuff. We're not Amish yet. It's going to get to the point, just going to be like 1800 style living overnight. It could happen. I mean, you got to think about these things. And the guy with the chicken's probably going to get killed immediately. I'm just saying, if you're if you're raising animals and stuff and you've already told everyone on Facebook about it, you're probably already going to be targeted. So I'd start laying low on some of these things, just so a lot of you guys know it's loose lips sink your ship. I guess it can happen. Your best friend becomes your enemy. You're gonna have people from the church show up to your house with a shotgun. I'm just, I don't like to stir you guys up. I just like to give out little scenarios and just some ideas. I know prepping's supposed to be fun. I still have a sense of humor. So for some of you guys, they're like, how dare you laugh? I have to call you out immediately before you start commenting. Now, fuel, like I said, fuel and supply chain type stuff are going to get hit and targeted. Places that have storage facilities where they keep food and supplies and stuff like that. There's a lot of storage facilities for that sort of thing, because the stores are going to get looted immediately. Everyone's going to be just, well, currency's no good anymore, homie. What are we going to do? So it's just going to be Grand Theft Auto and jacking any kind of food you want to on the way. There's going to be a lot of that. You're going to see a lot. That Tesla dealership's probably going to have an empty car lot. It's going to be a finger discount pretty much. And the collapse of the dollar is a very, very scary thing, because you're going to see some very catastrophic stuff. Unruly civil unrest is going to be insane. You think some of the riots are bad? Just wait till something like this happens and there's no more money. Look at all the government handouts. Everyone who's come over to this country just jumped the fence, and they're collecting all these benefits. It's free school, free this, free healthcare, free dental, free housing. Have some money each month. Free food, all the free food you can want. All that stuff's gonna instantly go away. Imagine all of those people. That's a lot of people. You're talking about stop loss, stop leave. I was in during that. A lot of you don't know that. I was actually in the Marine Corps when they initiated stop loss, stop leave. That was some crazy stuff, man. I had dudes that worked with me every day. They knew they were getting out like a week later or 2 weeks later. So I'm getting out. I'm going to be free, man. DD 214, I'm rolling. And they go from, dude, being like happy to instantly, I hate this place, and just start smash, and everything that they got, peeing in the sink. They didn't even go in the toilet anymore. It's crazy. I'm just saying. And a lot of that's starting to take place too. We've got a situation here. I want to throw this out there for some of you that don't know. It's like that callback to active duty. Now that wasn't for National Guards and stuff. That wasn't for any of that. That was for people. That callback of those like 3,000, 4,000 troops back to active duty were people that were on IRR. Now that's like, dude, that's like, so if you serve and you get this contract, right? And on your contract, like on my contract, it actually had, you do your 4 years of service. Then you down here, you got your, or 5 years, you got your 5 years as you were. You got your you got your 5 years or your 4 years. It doesn't matter. One of those two. Whatever you've decided there. Okay. Now you serve that, and then you've got another 3 to 4 years of IRR. That means that you're out. You got out of the military. You got your GI Bill. You're going to go to school. Okay, we're going to school. Then they call you up and say, "Hey, guess what? You got to come back." What do you mean I got to come back? You know, you've already burned your uniforms. You know, you've gotten fat in that few months. You ate a lot of pizza, and they call you up and they say, "Hey, you got to come back in." Wait, what? And yeah, you know, guess what? Corporal Cheeseburger, you get to bring your butt back in. So that's what's happened. So a lot of people, they can't fill these ranks anymore because of all the woke garbage that they've spit into this military for the U.S. For all this nonsense. Since they've done all this, they put lipstick on pigs and whatever else they're doing. All this weird nonsense that they've done, they've caused a lot of people to not want to join. They're like, oh, I don't think I want to take pronoun school, you know. So since all that's happened, nobody wants to join the military anymore. So now they've got to go back to, well, let's initiate IRR, active duty status. Let's get all these people that just got out and bring them back in. And you know those are going to be some angry people too, because those were the ones that were like, I don't want to get vaccinated. I don't want to go to pronoun school. You know, I don't feel like wearing a dress with my camis. So it's all this different stuff. And it's the reason why they're having to call these people back, because they just can't get people in. And then we got to send them to Europe. So that's fun. Just throwing it out there. Now, let's look at the kissing part down. You gotta kiss the cheeks, right? Anyway, so it's part of the training, right? Anyway, so I don't know what's happening anymore. I don't know what's happening anymore with that. I just know that with that taking place, and then with everything else, but you can almost guarantee with all these deals being made, and there's a lot of silence, there's a lot of quiet. You've got all these little media outlets that they don't do it. They're paid. These people are under the counter paid, bought off media sources. I mean, you can't do anything anymore. Nothing's free anymore. You've got to pay for a subscription to anything anymore. And that's just another sidebar in my head. I know I'm on a complaints roll today, but you won't own anything anymore. You'll have to pay for all these little subscriptions. You'll have to pay for internet. You've got to pay for, on top of that, you've got to pay for the subscription of what you watch. $2, $4, whatever it's going to be. You've got to pay for all these different things. Oh, you like your social media account? You're going to have to pay to use that too. Or I guess you just quit, in order to do anything, you're going to have to pay to use it. You can't drive your vehicle without having to pay for subscriptions to everything that operates your vehicle. It's just one thing after another. It's all these different things. It's like, dude, you've got to pay for all this stuff. Like, what? Why do I have to pay for all this stuff? I just want to use it. And then they throw ads on top of everything too. I know I'm on a rant. It just drives me nuts. And that's the way it's going to be. That's the way of the future these days. And you can't, it's like, if you want, some people were telling me like they have like camera systems that they have to like pay to use the camera system. Like, what do you just get like analog? Can't you just do that? It's like, well, eventually they're going to do away with that too. They're going to make you pay for everything. So I know it's a side rant, but you can almost guarantee there's a lot of darkness going on. I mean, you got X things sitting at a table. They're all drinking coffee or sake. I don't know what they're drinking, but they're sipping on something, and they're all gathered around this big fat round table, oval table, maybe a square, but they're talking about dropping the dollar. So you could almost take that to the bank, I guess. But I would get prepared. I would make sure that you get the food that you need. I know for you Tennesseans out there, there's a tax holiday coming up, so you should be able to get down on that and get yourself plenty of food stocked up. I would recommend some 5-gallon buckets. Get yourself some Mylar bags and some oxygen absorbers. If you can't find oxygen absorbers, use hand warmers. And get yourself an ironing board and an iron. That way you can seal your Mylar bags. And get yourself a 5-gallon bucket and fill them suckers full of oats, food, your rice, your sugar, and you don't have to use a vacuum. You don't have to use the oxygen absorber for sugar. Some people do. Someone thought I did. It's like, did you use oxygen? No, I didn't use. What are you talking about? Get yourself some flour because you got to bake. Make sure you get plenty of seeds. Grab yourself one of those seed vaults or something. That's what I would do. If you're not prepared and you're watching this video, I would do those things to make sure that you can at least grow food. Make sure you have some food, and those are going to be your key elements, because there's a possibility. I mean, if fuel prices go to $30 a gallon, we're really not going to be driving, are we? So you're going to be pedaling it. So if you don't have a pedal bike, get you one. I know, I'm doom and gloom, aren't I? I'm sorry. I apologize. I love you guys. I really do. I try, and hopefully you get my message and you don't take it negative, and a little bit of sense of humor, and just run with it. When I was in the Marines, things would get so bad that, I mean, from pains, aches, to rain, to mud, to whatever it is, to whatever sand in your crack, I don't know, whatever your case is, it would get so bad that you can just, I mean, you don't cry. You don't cry. There's no crying. It is, you just get, it's an insanity switch in your head that flips, and you just start laughing. It's so hilarious. For some reason, we all gonna die and we're laughing about it. But that is the mentality that a lot of folks are gonna need. They're gonna need that kind of salty behavior thing. It's a switch. I'm telling you, you just start laughing. Oh boy, that's how you do it. All right, God bless, take care, try to stay sane.